Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. So we are surrounded by books. We have a book recommendation video. So I have 4 books. They all have sprayed edges, but they're all romantasy based. So romantasy is a fantasy book, but like romance influences the plot. And I'm so excited because I think it's been a while since I've recommended some romantasy books, and in my last haul I got a bunch of romantasy books, but also recently I've been reading romantasy. That's been the vibe lately. So we're gonna start. So my first one is A Fire in the Sky by Sophie Jordan. So nice. And we have the blue sprayed edges, and that was first print run, I think, only, or this is like a deluxe edition, and then there's dragons on the end pages. But obviously, if you can't tell, this is a dragon romantasy, so it has dragons and humans, and there's magic and stuff. Okay. Dragons are extinct, witches are outcast, magic is dying, but human lust for power is immortal. Dragon fire no longer blisters the skies over Peñaranda, but inside the lavish palace, life is still perilous, especially for Tamsin. Raised in the realm's glittering court alongside the princesses, it's her duty to be punished for their misdeeds. Treated as part of the royal family, but also as the lowliest servant, Tamsin fits in nowhere. Her only friend is Stig, captain of the guard, though sometimes she thinks he wants more than friendship. When Fel, the beast of the borderlands, descends to her home, Tamsin's world becomes even more dangerous. To save the pampered princesses from a fate far worse than death, she is commanded to don a veil and marry the brutal warrior. She agrees to the deception, even though it means leaving behind Stig and the only life she's ever known. Their wedding night begins with unexpected passion and ends in near violence when Tamsin's trickery is exposed. Rather than start a war, Fel accepts her as his bride, but he can only accept the dark secrets she harbors. Secrets buried so deep even she doesn't know they exist. For Tamsin is more than a royal whipping girl, more than the false wife of a man who she sees as his enemy. And when those secrets emerge, they will ignite a flame bright enough to burn the entire kingdom to the bone. Magic is not dead. It is only sleeping. And it will take one ordinary girl with an extraordinary destiny to awaken it. Okay, also I forgot to mention, but there's like little, illustrations throughout the book, and they change as you read, and obviously you don't want to flip through because it is like the illustrations are a spoiler, so do with that what you will. But oh, I also forgot, just about all of these are romantasy, but they're romantasy slow burn. So yes, romance is influenced, but like some of it just takes a while. So this is the fastest slow burn of all the books that I'm recommending, only because this one, they have to have their wedding night before things can further into our journey of the story, and that happens quickly. In the first couple chapters we have the wedding night. Also, it's like a very short read, and also this is only book 1. This is a series, and it does end on a cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger is actually insane because one of the things that happens in the book, I guessed. The thing that happens towards the end, I did not see that one coming, and it leaves you wanting more. But Tamsin she's known as the whipping girl, and she takes punishments for all the princesses. There's 3 of them. She gets treated like a royal, but then she's the whipping girl. And she has Stig, his dad is like a confidant to the king and queen. So Stig has like a good position in the army or whatever. but he's always tried to like be her friend, talk to her, that sort of thing. But Stig is in a relationship of his own. Like, Stig definitely wants something more with Tamsin, but Tamsin doesn't look at him that way. But honestly, Tamsin doesn't really look at anyone that way because she doesn't think that's going to happen for her because she's a whipping girl. And then here comes Fel. Fel comes to the castle. He's essentially like, one of these girls is going to be my bride. Whoop-de-doo. And his reputation is terrible. So Tamsin is worried for the princesses that something bad is going to happen to them because X, Y, and Z is said about Phil. It's said about where he's come from and so forth. So the king and queen come up with a plan, and essentially it's like, Tamsin, you're going to pretend to be a princess and marry Phil. And they do this whole thing where it's like, in their custom, she has to wear a veil and stuff, and Phil doesn't get to see her face and everything until after they consummate the marriage. And they also said that because they wanted the marriage to be consummated first, so Phil thinks he now has leverage in their kingdom, but he doesn't. And so when it is discovered that Tamsin is in fact not a princess, Phil does feel betrayed, and that kind of starts the rift in their relationship. It's not like they really had much of a relationship to begin with because they didn't really know each other, but from that moment, he kind of starts looking at her sideways. He's not really trusting her as much because kind of just tricked him into a marriage type situation. And he also has like these other, call them like the little entourage, but like his other soldiers and whatnot that traveled with him. None of them trust her. They all think she's low-key kind of uppity, but they don't know the extent of what she's been through. So they're on this journey to get back to where Fel is from. But on this journey, Tamsin starts to learn some things about herself that she never knew possible. And then Fel and Tamsin kind of have this tension between the two because for a moment, you know, they were good, and then the betrayal happened and Fel distanced himself from her. But now Tamsin is thrust into this new type of world where she doesn't really know anyone, and she's, in her mind, she's still trying to do her duty to the other princesses that she calls her sisters, but yet again she was treated like dirt and put into this marriage. But I promise you, we do have character development, and you get to learn about like Fel's story because he has a story as well. And then you learn more about the dragons and their history because the dragons play an important part of this story, and magic and witches, and how some of that was lost and some of it was kind of just causing commotion. But it's really good. I flew through it. I was literally flabbergasted at the end because it's a cliffhanger. So I'm very much looking forward to the second book. The only thing is I don't know when the second book is coming out. I've heard nothing about it, but I'm impatiently waiting for it. So there you have it. Then moving on, we have Obsidian by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is another one with nice edges. So this series has been out for a while, but all of the books are getting republished in this format with this type of cover and with sprayed edges, but I believe it's only if you get like first editions. But I referenced this in the book haul video that my friend Crystal has read the series and she enjoyed it, and I can say I did enjoy book one, and I'm looking forward to reading the second one because you do kind of end on a bit of a cliffhanger. It's not like too bad, but you do want to continue the series. And I can't remember if this book has, it's like 5 books in the series. Maybe there could be more, but I definitely think it's more than 4 books. And I know book 2 has already been re-released. I'm not sure about the rest in the series, but okay. Starting over sucks. When we moved to West Virginia right before my senior year, I'd pretty much resigned myself to thick accents, dodgy internet access, and a whole lot of boring until I spotted my hot neighbor with his looming height and eerie green eyes. Things were looking up, and then he opened his mouth. Damon is infuriating, arrogant, stab-worthy. We do not get along at all. But when a stranger attacks me and Damon literally freezes time with a wave of his hand, well, something unexpected happens. The hot alien living next door marks me. You heard me, alien. Turns out Damon and his sister have a galaxy of enemies wanting to steal their abilities, and Damon's touch has me lit up like the Vegas Strip. The only way I'm getting out of this alive is by sticking close to Damon until my alien mojo fades, if I don't kill him first. Then we have an excerpt on the back. Beautiful face, beautiful body, horrible attitude. It was the holy trinity of hot boys. Okay, so this one's also fairly a quick read. But we have your girl. Her and her mom move, new place, kind of start over situation. She didn't really want to, but her mom did, and she kind of has to go anyway. So she's in this new place. She doesn't really know anybody. One day, she sees, I think it's like her mom tries to tell her to go talk to the neighbors or whatever. And Damon is like disinterested in her, not feeling her. Whereas Damon's sister is kind of like looking for that friendship. But as they're becoming friends, Damon is kind of like, I don't want you to hang out with my sister. Like, I don't really like you. And 9 times out of 10, Damon's not giving a specific reason on why he doesn't like her, why he doesn't want her hang. He's just flat out saying it because that's how he feels. And obviously, he's an alien. So you find out later that the whole reason he just doesn't want them to mix is because she's a human and they're aliens, and that can be bad for them. There's also more behind why he doesn't really want to associate with humans. You learn that, but we just can't say that right now. But again, like as it said, something happens, like this guy is hassling her and she's like trying to just diffuse the situation. Damon inserts himself in the situation and like freezes time, and she sees that. And when these aliens use their magic, it leaves a mark on the human that they've used magic for. So now he's kind of like, the secret, like, can you be trusted type situation. And she's like, I'll never betray you. And y'all, it's not like she really knows anybody out there anyway. So from that moment, she learns that there are other extraterrestrials out there that want to hurt Damon and his kind, and that they have been like following them and they're just trying to get to safety. And there are other aliens in this town, and she does meet them and stuff, but you would never know because these are the type of aliens that look like humans. And so you're going through this journey of finding out kind of like Damon's family history past and these other people that are after them, how they ended up on Earth. And she's also still trying to settle into this new life, and then she's kind of thrust into like her next door neighbors are aliens. And all through this, she still likes Damon, but she thinks he is infuriating. But once she understands that he's an alien, she feels like she understands him a little bit better. And then they do have like another conversation where you get deeper knowledge of why he just really distanced himself from humans and why they just don't mix. Yet they do mix. But it's this whole thing. There's like a government situation involved, and there's like an alien government as well. It's a whole thing. But like, you only get this much. And again, there are multiple books in the series, so I don't know what kind of journey we're going on, but we're on a journey right now. And this is a slow burn romance, so it's really down the line, because again, it's kind of like an enemies to lovers, but they have that tension between them that leads to something more. So there you have it. Then we have The Night Ends with Fire by KX Song. amazing. Another one, beautiful edges, but it also has in pages, and then you have this on the hardcover itself. So this is a Mulan inspired Romantasy, but it's based off the original Mulan story and not the Disney version, because the version Disney did was kind of like a watered down version, but I love it. This one is pulling from her original story. And it makes references to the Disney version, but most of it is pulled from the original story. And obviously it is also like a retelling, so a lot of it is made up, but yeah. So, raised to obey, destined to rebel. The three kingdoms are at war, but Mei Lin's father refuses to answer the imperial draft. Trapped by his opium addiction, he plans to sell Mei Lin for her dowry. But when Mei Lin discovers her husband-to-be is another violent, ill-tempered man, she realizes that nothing will change for her unless she takes matters into her own hands. The very next day, she disguises herself as a boy and enlists in her father's place. In the army, Mei Lin's relentless hard work brings her recognition, friendship, and a growing closeness with Sky, a prince-turned training partner. But has she simply exchanged one prison for another? As her kingdom barrels toward destruction, Mei Lin begins to have visions of a sea dragon spirit who offers her true power and freedom at a deadly price. With the future of the three kingdoms hanging in the balance, Mei Lin will need to decide whom to trust. Sky, who inspires her loyalty and love, the sea dragon spirit, who has its own murky agenda, or an infuriating enemy prince, who makes her question everything she once knew about her kingdom and about her own heart. So it gives a bit of a love triangle aspect going on. I mean, I definitely prefer the enemy prince because enemies to lovers, but you know, Sky is an alright guy. But there is something that happens that he's on my watch list. Let's just say that. So in this story, and based on like the original Mulan story, she actually has siblings and stuff. So she does have siblings in this story, and her father does remarry some other girl. It's like a girl around her age. Oh, Mulan is like 18. So at first, when she realized her family is struggling, she's kind of like, fine, let's meet the matchmaker or whatever and see. It's not something she wants to do, but she doesn't want her family to suffer. And she gets told information about who they're gonna match her with. So naturally, she goes and watches him and finds out he's essentially just like her father, and she doesn't want to leave the prison of her life to go to some other guy's crib, and he's going to be just like the father. And the whole reason Mulan is going to do this for the dowry is because her father is like in terrible debt. So that means the whole family is. And so the only way to get them out is if Mulan essentially gets sold to be married, to be someone's bride. And she doesn't like that idea. So after she sees what happens to this other girl from the guy she's supposed to marry, she runs off. She's like, you know, I'm going to be in the army, pretend to be a guy. That has to be better than this predicament. Mulan is just looking, I'm sorry, not Mulan. Mei Lin is looking to just generally have like a better lifestyle, and she feels like the only way she can do that is if she goes to the army. So then starts her journey as Rin. She becomes Rin when she joins the army, and she doesn't know anyone. She does have like training. She's done kung fu and martial arts, I believe, and that's also part of the original story, that she had like previously trained and stuff before the army. So she's going into there with knowledge, but when it comes to like sword fighting, shooting arrows, that type of stuff, she doesn't have that. So she works 10 times as hard as all the other guys because she is a female, and she wants to prove to them and prove to herself that she can be more and that she can do more than just be someone's wife. But while doing all this, she still has to hide who she is. But one night, Sky, the prince, sees her training, and then he naturally kind of just starts training with her. But he doesn't know that he's met her before as Meilin, but now he's meeting her as Rin. So they have a little something because she likes him, but again, it's not like she's been in the space to be able to like a guy. But also while all this is going, she starts hearing voices being a dragon. And it's been said, you know, like, dragons are gone. It was kind of like iffy. But she's also nervous because her mom heard voices, but they called her mom crazy and whatnot. And her mom is dead at this point. So she's kind of thinking, am I going crazy? Sometimes she responds to the voice, sometimes she doesn't. Then also while all of this is going on, she meets the enemy prince. And they have some tension going on, but at the same time, she's still thinking about Sky. And this enemy prince is trying to figure her out. He's after some of the same things that she is, and I can't say too much on that. But they end up spending time together, and she's trying to figure him out because she's like, I don't know, there's something about him. But then she's kind of also like, there's something about him that she likes him. But again, she's not sure. So we have this love triangle, and I really, really hate love triangles, of Sky and the enemy prince. And then the book ends on a cliffhanger. It's also a pretty quick read, but it ends on a cliffhanger. The good thing out is that book 2 has been announced, and I'm pretty sure it's coming out soon, either in September or before September. Or maybe in like March. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's supposed to come out before September. And I'm really looking forward to it because the cliffhanger is crazy. Crazy. But it's really good. And this is also like my first Mulan inspired retelling that I've read. And she's like one of my top 5 princesses. So I was really looking forward to this. And it did not disappoint. And I need the next book because it was good. And now we're on our last one, which is The Stars Are Dying by Chloe C. Peñaranda? Sorry if I said that wrong. But this one's also really nice because these are our main characters. This is on the hardcover itself. So she had like indie published the book, and this was the original cover art. And then when it got republished, she talked to them about keeping this on the hardcover, but then also doing another design for the dust jacket. And then you also have that on the back. Love it. But this is another one. She also has beautiful edges and a slow burn. And the good thing about this one is book 2 is coming out at the end of this month. Either like the January 28th or 29th, book 2 is coming out. And this is a trilogy. So, I mean, you're still going to have to wait for book 3. But at least the second one is coming out pretty soon. Okay. The brightest star needs the darkest night. Astria is a prisoner of her own mind, the past sliding from her grasp like water. But she knows she must escape the cruel arms that hold her captive and find her clouded memories once again. This quest leads her to the Libertatum, a succession of rivals hosted by the king in which 5 human lands compete for a cycle of safety from the vampires seeking blood, claiming souls, and savaging after dark. But even winning the Libertatum will not keep Astria safe from vampires. She's made a bargain with the beautiful and deadly Knight, who stalks her dreams and haunts her waking hours. He promises to keep her safe, but she knows that she cannot trust him, cannot trust his lies, even as she finds herself drawn deeper and deeper into his seductive embrace. Caught between Night and her own mysteries, Astrea must decide if winning the Libertatum for her kingdom is worth her life, or if protection and the answers to her past are really her strongest desires. So from the start, she's in a bad place. Also, I forgot to say this, but there's something on the back. We'll read that and then we'll dive into things. 500 years ago, something changed. Everyone felt it. The world was crackling like something had stepped into the realm that was never supposed to be here. I think everyone knew the golden age the Star Maiden had unsheathed in was about to be shaken like the stars that began to die out. So Ashia is in essentially a loveless marriage with Hector. Hector claims to be like a protector and is taking care of her and loves her and whatnot. It is not love. But that's all she's ever known or that she can recall, because again, her memories are fuzzy. But she wants more. She wants to get out. She wants to do things because Hector likes to keep her locked up. So sometimes she sneaks out. She has another friend, Cassie, that she visits, who Cassie is a king's daughter, and they talk, and then she has some friends with some of the guards. But essentially she wants to escape Hector and move forth. That happens, but there's a lot of stuff in between that also happens, so I don't want to spoil it. But while all of this is also happening, she starts hearing a voice in her head. It is a guy. She's never heard this voice before. She can't see him, none of that. But he starts to help her. She sometimes doesn't listen to him, but like in a way he makes her listen. And he introduces himself as Night, like the night sky. And he calls her Starlight because she doesn't want to give her name to him because she does not know this person, voice, whatever. So all this is happening, and then she ends up at the Libertatum. And while this is happening, she's going under a false identity. So she's trying to be someone else, and that later comes out. But also for this Libertatum, you have to go through a number of trials. Some people end up dropping out or stuff happens to them during these trials. And then they also have like training sessions. So it's not like they're throwing you in it right away. You do get to train. But as this is all happening, she's also having Night, and she's trying to learn more about him. They kind of have this deal going on, but she also like hasn't seen him at this point, and she's kind of like, when am I going to see you? Like, where are you? Who are you? What are you? Because this book has vampires, humans, celestials, and fae. It deals with like a lot of magic and whatnot. So she's trying to figure this out because, you know, like what's happening. And he's not trying to tell her what he is. And sometimes he'll say stuff and that makes her think that he knows her in some type of way. She doesn't know him. That is later discussed and discovered. But she's also she also has another ulterior motive of why she joined the Libertatum, which again is discussed, but I don't want to say it and spoil anything. So she has multiple reasons for being there, but she's also getting drawn closer to Night. They are kind of developing a relationship, even though it's kind of just like talking in their heads. And to like a point, like she starts kind of seeing, I guess, like apparitions, or maybe they sometimes see each other in their dreams or whatnot, but that type of vibe. So she does get to know him better as all of this is going on, but she's still trying to figure out and remind herself like why she's here, not for him. But then she's kind of like, wait, I think we kind of understand each other on a deeper level. And there's also some side business going on, especially where the people are being held to hold the Libertatum kind of contest, event, whatever that happens. And I don't want to say too much, but also this is kind of like the thickest one out of the bunch. It was a bit slow to start, I will say that. Kind of like once we got to the middle, things were picking up. It's a little bit more interesting for me. I don't mind slow to start books, but like just for reference, you're not jumping right into things. It is going to take a while to get there. So just know that when you get into it, it is a slow read at the start. But then things start picking up and you get invested, and it does end on like a bit of a cliffhanger. But again, like I said, book 2 is coming out at the end of this month, so you can just pick up there. And there we have it. So those were all of my books that we're recommending. I really enjoyed all of these, and I didn't say this, but I think it was understood. All of these are the start of a series. Usually when I recommend one book in a series, I'm recommending the entire books, you know, for the entire series. And all of these books, I thoroughly enjoyed them, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series and seeing how things end. And I think most of these are either 2 or 3 books. The only one that's not is the Onyx series. That one has more than 3 books, but because I know how some people don't like to be reading too long of a series, I understand that. So most of them are like short series, so not too much. But check them out. Some Romantasy, slow burns, if you like that. A mix of like enemies to lovers and then just kind of like falling into place. So good. 10 out of 10, recommend them. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more, please hit the subscribe button down below. Peace and blessings, my loves.